Start the recording. Okay, this is our first post BHRT certification webinar. And what we are going to do today is try and follow up on anything that was not clear from last time and from our 2-day seminar. And also we have some cases as I kind of put a charge to everyone that I want you to go out and actually do something. We have 2 cases that we can discuss, and we'll just see where that discussion takes us. I had some information that we might go over, but we'll just see where the conversation leads us. So let me pull up the first one. The first one is Pam Bramlett's case. So Pam, I just unmuted you. Okay, there. Are you there?
I'm here.
Okay. So can you see the screen? You want to talk about this patient? I have exactly what you emailed me.
Sure. This was a 67-year-old female that was referred to me by a family practice physician. I wasn't quite sure why she came to me, if she was specifically wanting hormones or not, but as we got into the consult, found out that she had a lot of symptoms of stress, as well as hot flashes and that sort of thing. She took Premarin for years, like many, many, many years, and then she went off of it. She has not been on any hormone therapy, I want to say 5 or 6 years, and she does have a lot of stress. I think her husband stresses her out a lot, but he has some health issues. Severe hot flashes, night sweats, moderate irritability, mood swings, anxiety, and some sleep issues. And so I talked her into doing a saliva test, and the numbers came back with her estradiol being normal, her progesterone being low, the ratio being low, and her testosterone being low normal. Yeah. DHEA low, and let's see, her cortisol, I think her cortisol numbers were fine.
Fine, yeah.
Well, maybe a little bit elevated at night.
Yeah,
I don't think I put everything on there.
Yeah, well, no, it's there. I guess this is the night one. I suppose is 1.5.
Yes.
Okay, so that's a night. So that is a little bit elevated. So she does have some sleep issues. Well, and so you were saying, would I start a 67-year-old woman on bioidentical hormones? No doubt about it.
Well, I know there was some new literature that came out recently about heart disease, so.
Yeah, again, as long as you're going from low to normal, I don't think there's a problem. See, because when you see these articles, it's, I don't know exactly what you're talking, which article you're talking about. But see, as long as you have a saliva test that says she's low and you're bringing her up to normal, I don't see how that's going to lead to any adverse effects. So with her, especially if sleep is an issue, I would tell you, I would do oral progesterone. Now she's an older woman, so maybe she won't metabolize it as much. So, maybe you start off with 35, 40, 50 milligrams. 50 is usually my lowest dose. But in somebody, if you're worried, give her 35 milligrams orally and tell her to take it at night and see if it helps her with her sleep. And if she has anxiety during the day, maybe you give her maybe you give her 25 in the morning, 25 in the afternoon, and see if that doesn't help her with her sleep. I just pulled this at AFMA. Dr. Zava presented this, so I'm gonna give him full credit. But it's allopregnanolone inversely associated with anxiety and PTSD. And this is his lecture on neuroactive peptides that come from steroids. So progesterone therapy. Now, this is what I was telling you guys, how oral progesterone makes a lot more allopregnanolone than topical progesterone. So with her, if anxiety is her biggest issue and sleep, this is why I would use the oral, because they're going to make a lot more allopregnanolone. And allopregnanolone is what binds to the GABA receptor. Okay. So on her, I would probably do it orally. You can retest her in 2 or 3 months. Make sure that, it's not too high. But usually with oral, you don't have to worry about it. with about the level getting too elevated. So, yeah, I wouldn't have any. I don't start people on hormone therapy if they just walk in and they say they're 67. I'm not one of those guys that think everybody wants to feel
Would
like
you give
they're
her any
21.
DHEA since that's low?
Yeah, you could give her that, especially since her cortisol is elevated at night. She probably is having
Mm-hmm.
DHEA still. So I wouldn't have any. Again, I don't have any problem with raising a low level to normal, uh, especially if you have
Okay.
accurate testing. Now, what do you think her estradiol level would have been in her blood?
Probably non-existent.
Exactly. Not probably not non-existent. And how much does this patient weigh? I mean, is she a big lady or a small lady?
No, I mean I'd say maybe 150.
Yeah. So I mean, she's a norm. So somewhere she's making enough estrogen to make estradiol. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, her estrogen level is fine. What she needs is progesterone. She needs DHEA, and you might think about doing something if her nighttime cortisol is elevated. We use phosphatidylcholine. We use Serencom to treat that, and it works great. So if the progesterone doesn't do it, uh, then I would think about doing something to lower that nighttime cortisol. Maybe she needs an adrenal supplement, or just give her the Serencom at night to lower that cortisol. It has enough phosphatidyl serine in it to get that cortisol level down. So DHEA, some oral progesterone, and if her sleep is still not better, I would give her something that has phosphatidylserine in it.
Okay. Great.
And she's on pravastatin for cholesterol. Okay, so let's see if we've got any questions from the crowd here. Can you guys know how to click that little hand button, or we can go to the chat? Okay, great. We got one. All right, Dr. Robinson, let's see what we've got here. Yes, sir, Dr. Robinson.
Can you explain a little bit more about DHEA? We didn't cover that a whole lot, and that has come up as I've been reading a little bit more. What do we do with DHEA on the cortisol testing?
Well,
Like,
what's usually what happens is when you're making extra cortisol, which at least she is at night, then DHEA usually suffers, especially with long-term stress. Cortisol will go up, then DHEA will go down because DHEA is anabolic, cortisol is catabolic. Now, with a woman, now I don't know about you, Pam, but with a woman, I usually don't give more than 10 milligrams of DHEA. Is that what you're
Okay.
used to? Because
Five. Usually I start with five.
yeah, I say I don't give any more than 10. Yeah, it's usually 5 to 10 milligrams for a woman. And then for men, it's 25 to 50. They can take up to 50. Because in women, they rapidly will convert DHEA to testosterone. Because DHEA is a precursor for testosterone and it's the precursor for estrogen. But women, if you go above 10, they will start to get acne. They'll have, they'll start to lose hair, all kinds of things. So DHEA is anabolic. Uh, uh, Cortisol is catabolic. Now, I'm going to tell you myself personally, I'm more interested in getting the cortisol down than giving them DHEA. Because if you get the cortisol down and you get everything where it's supposed to be, then you'll stop stealing DHEA because of cortisol. Let me pull up the steroid cascade so you can see what I'm talking about. Let me see where I might have that. Okay, here we go. Okay, so you see how the arrows point to cortisol. So when somebody's under stress, they're going to make more cortisol. So if everything is going in this direction, this gets left out, DHEA. Okay, so this arrow is being bypassed because everything is going down this pathway. So you get DHEA still. So as cortisol goes up, long term, DHEA goes down. And then that's going to cause all of these other things to go down, testosterone, estradiol. So your number one goal is to stop making cortisol. So you give adaptogens, you get rid of the stress, you try to give them amino acids so they'll start using their autonomic nervous system instead of making cortisol. So that's your number one goal. But in the meantime, you can give them DHEA. I don't usually give DHEA long term because I'm trying to fix this whole cascade so that it'll stop stealing DHEA in order to make cortisol. So does that help you, Dr. Robinson? I always like to go to these pathways because then they'll help you. Even when you forget what I say, you'll look at this and say, "Oh yeah. Look at those arrows; they're going toward cortisol. She's making that extra cortisol at night when she should be building herself up. When you repair yourself is at night. So if her cortisol is up at night, she's actually catabolic at night. So that's why that's why her DHEA is low. Okay, so
Yeah, that definitely helps explain
yeah,
it a little bit more.
yeah. So if you see the DHEA is low, the reason why is that they've got cortisol still. So you say, okay, I'm going to supplement the DHEA, but you really want them to stop making so much cortisol.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
And then just real quick, one more time, you're to bringing the cortisol down. Obviously, doing the stress reduction things,
Right.
trying to decrease the sympathetic nervous system, increase the parasympathetic, using the heart rate variability, those kind of things, and then
Yeah.
you're giving some in your supplements. So, like, what are the main things that are
Well, here's
helping
what you do is one is okay. So here we go. Hope this. So first thing you want to do is try and eliminate the stress. And Dr. Iyer, I'm gonna get to you. I'm gonna finish this.
Yeah.
Trying to eliminate the stress. Right now it's probably her husband. Okay, so it's nothing she can do about that. She's got to take care of her husband. I'm saying her husband because he's sick,
Right.
Right, Pam?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm saying he's sick, so it's not that he's being a butthole. He's just sick, so that's the stress. Okay, so she can't. I know that's what often we think. Oh, he's being, but first we want to try and eliminate the stress. Well, you can't do that. Okay, now maybe she could change her response to the stress. Maybe she could get some in-home help. But hey, maybe she's not financially at that point where she can do that. Okay, so then you have to prepare your body for the stress and repair your body from the stress. So what we will do is she's got lack of sleep. Okay, so she looked at her cortisol, progesterone, maybe she needs some magnesium. So first of all, we want to try and get her to sleep. So we know her cortisol level is high, so we'll talk about how we're going to do that. She's probably got low parasympathetic activity, so we can work on that. Emotional strain, we did the salivary testing. Okay, so what else? All right, so here's where phosphatidylserine works. Okay, she's got elevated cortisol. She has overwritten her hypothalamus pituitary, so instead of her decreasing ACTH, she's continuing to make more and more cortisol. Phosphatidylserine works right here. It resensitizes it so that she will realize that cortisol of 1.5 at night is too high, and now she'll self-adjust it. And when you give the phosphatidylserine for a month or two and you resensitize the hypothalamus pituitary, most of the time they don't need it long term. They may need it for 3 to 6 months at the most. Usually they'll start sleeping in a month or so. But you're just trying to resensitize the hypothalamus pituitary, and phosphatidylserine does it and does it great. And the other thing that we have in there is to trying to calm this down to increase our parasympathetics. 5-HTP, L-tyrosine, all of these help to make the non-excitatory neurotransmitters. The other thing you can do is give adaptogens to get the adrenal cortex to adapt better to the stress so that it doesn't overreact to the stress. So those are the 3 points: hypothalamus pituitary, the adrenals with adaptogens, and then the sympathetic and the parasympathetic is with amino acids. So amino acids, uh, the Serene Calm, and then the Adrenacare. And then also she's going to give her the progesterone. So Serene Calm has ashwagandha and phosphatidylserine. Those are the big ones. But it also has some choline in it to make acetylcholine, which helps the parasympathetic nervous system. Also has L-theanine in it. Those are the biggies. All right, the ashwagandha, the choline, the phosphatidylserine, and then also rhodiola, and then the L-theanine. That's one of my favorites. That's really helps with the sympathetic nervous system. So that's what I primarily use. SereneCalm has phosphatidylserine and choline to decrease cortisol and increase acetylcholine. We include the adaptogen ashwagandha and GABA agonist L-theanine. So we kind of hit all three just with the SereneCalm. If you didn't want to use the Adrenacare, and I said this before, in my clinical experience, I have found that people are only going to take two or three things on a consistent basis. So that's why we are, like with this, if you just did those two, if you did amino acids and SereneCalm, or if you did Adrenacare and SereneCalm, you're probably going to fix 80% of her problem. And then you give her some progesterone, and if she can sleep, everything's going to get better. So that's kind of how we look at it. What can I give? How can I add a bunch of things together to try and get a result without the patient having to do a whole lot? Because if you give them 15 things to take, they're only going to take two or three, and then they're going to be mad that you sold them the other, 13 things. So they are. So so I kind of show you, here are the points, and you can figure out what points you want to try and hit. And I would tell you to hit at least two out of the three, and usually you'll get a good result. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Dr. Taylor.
Okay, so I'm going to mute you guys, and we're going to go to Dr. Iyer. Okay, Dr. Iyer, we'll do your case. Did you have a question about this?
Yeah, because one of the things, I think I have a similar experience like yours on DHEA. One thing, the results with the DHEA is very variable. It's not consistent.
Exactly. Yeah.
Even a very low dose DHEA, I see that it does cause, acne, loss of hair. They really have to stop it.
Yeah.
Another thing which I have noticed from time to time using DHEA is elevated blood pressure. I don't know if it is really a true thing. So I didn't know if you have observed any other side effects from DHEA, like leg swellings and stuff like that. Have you noticed it?
No, not really, because I don't use DHEA that much. I'm like you. I know I go to these conferences and people swear about DHEA, and I just haven't seen that it makes that big of a difference in how a patient feels. And because I think the real issue is that the only reason why the DHEA is low is because our cortisol is high. And so you always try to fix that root cause. Some people, they'll see the test and they've heard of DHEA and they ask me for it and I give it, but I I very rarely give DHEA because I just haven't seen that it gives me a whole lot of bang for the buck. I would rather do the SereneCalm, the phosphatidylserine, the SereneCalm. I would rather do that and the progesterone, because I'm always trying to figure out what two or three things are going to solve their big problem. And I haven't seen DHEA solve big problems. So I'm glad I'm not in the minority. You've noticed that too.
I have noticed. Actually, I'm actually stopping a lot of patients who are on DHEA.
Yeah, because before I get a good result, I end up having them coming back saying they have acne.
Acne, yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah.
Then there are some people who are actually promoting 7-keto DHEA for weight loss.
Right.
They're also saying that it is kind of a metabolite of DHEA. You may not have the same effects.
Yeah.
Where most of the DHEA converted to testosterone. So I wasn't so sure. I used it in a couple of patients.
Yeah.
But I really didn't get good results with that either.
Yeah. Well, hey, I got some more questions here. I think we've struck a chord in some people. Hold on.
Yeah.
Eric, I'm unmuting you, and then Sandra Banks too. So let's see what they have to say about it. Eric, did you had a question about this, or is this your hand still raised from the first one?
Oh, I think it's still raised from the first one.
Okay, well, let me take it down. Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's no problem. Sandra?
I think I just hit it again.
Okay, don't worry about it. Sandra, did you have a question? Sandra Banks? She had her hand raised. Okay, Dr. Iyer, I'll go back to you. Maybe that was a mistake also.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so all right, so let's go over yours. So yeah, I've heard, I've heard about the 7-keto and it doesn't convert. But again, I don't get enough value out of it to put my patients on it. That's kind of how I look at it. Yeah. So Sandra Banks, you do have a question. You're unmuted. You can talk if you like. Go to question pane. Okay. Let me see. She wrote a question. Dr. Taylor, I have a question. Oh, my mic is not working. Okay.
That's mine.
Okay. Sandra Banks has a question about 5-HTP, but her mic is not working. Okay. So, what's your question, Sandra? Can you type your question? Let's see. All right. Let's see what we can do here. All right, Sandra, let me quickly say what I know about 5-HTP. 5-HTP is a precursor for serotonin. Again, I use 5-HTP for a short amount of time because if you use 5-HTP for too long, what you will do is cause competitive inhibition for the other amino acids that are precursors for neurotransmitters like phenylalanine and tyrosine. So you'll end up with a lot of serotonin, but you won't have much dopamine or GABA or epinephrine and norepinephrine, because they're the precursors for phenylalanine is a precursor for norepinephrine and epinephrine. So I like to give all of the amino acids. You can give 5-HTP for a short amount of time, for a month or two, but after that you're going to have to either have to stop it or give more variety of amino acids so you don't have this competitive inhibition of the other precursors. I love 5-HTP short term for cravings. We have a product called Crave Curve that we use 5-HTP, but we also use some of the other the amino acids in it. So that's what I know about 5-HTP. If you give me a specific question, I'll answer that. But Dr. Aya, let's go over. This is your case, so let's go over this case before we take too much time.
Do you want me to go over it?
Yeah. I'll just let you go over it. That'll be the easiest.
Yeah, this is a kind of interesting case because in the beginning, this is a 48-year-old perimenopausal female patient who is interested in bioidentical hormone therapy. She does have significant, premenstrual symptoms. Especially, she has she gains quite a bit of weight, joint swellings, and weight gain. She says that she gains around almost 5 to 10 pounds just before her menstruation. This is more recent symptom for her. Then her past history, she has a very significant family history of depression and anxiety. Everyone in her family is on one kind of a depression or anxiety medication, including herself. She's on clonopin and Celexa. Even her two sons, who are 21, 24 years old, they also are on clonopin for a long time. She has hypothyroidism apparently seen by another holistic physician, which is well controlled on NP thyroid. She has some multiple allergies with chronic sinus symptoms, and she prefers to go to an allergy specialist for that. Her current supplements include vitamin D, B12, magnesium, Deplin. She says all of these are helping her. So I told her, so instead of increasing her anxiety and depression medications, I told her, considering her long-standing history and her age, which is perimenopausal, there may be some component of hormonal imbalance here. She also has some irregular menstruation, so she was open to it. So we did the salivary hormone testing for her. So apparently she tells me that it was around, since she's still menstruating, she says it was around 12th or 13th day of her menstrual cycle when she did the testing. She has normal estradiol. Interestingly, she has normal estrone and estradiol levels, but I noticed that on Genova lab report, they do not report, premenstrual lab numbers. They report only menopausal levels for estriol and estrone. Yeah. So that was a little confusing for me.
Okay.
Then she does have normal salivary testosterone levels. This was very interesting. She has extremely high salivary progesterone levels, which is above 4,000.
Yeah.
That was interesting. Then because of that, she has the increased ratio. And she has some imbalance with the melatonin, I think, which I attribute to her medications. Then she also has elevated afternoon and early morning, she has elevated cortisol levels, mostly in the mornings. It gets elevated throughout the day. So I went back to her again to figure out why she has this high salivary progesterone levels. I wanted to dig a little bit more, which was kind of unexpected for me. I hasn't faced that before.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked her, "Are you taking any supplements?" Which I don't know.
Yeah.
She said, "No, I'm using an essential oil." She said. I said, "What is the essential oil that you are taking?"
Yeah.
She said she is taking an essential oil which is called as progestins.
Mm-hmm.
So I went and looked into the content of the progestins. It says that it comes from wild yam. So I know that some of the bioidentical hormones, I think they do come from wild yam, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I wasn't
Especially
sure.
progesterone.
Progesterone. So I was thinking whether her high progesterone levels could be due to wild yam, but I thought it still doesn't explain too high of a level.
Well,
So
how long has she been on it? But I will tell you is
uh
that has she been on this essential oil for a long time?
I think she's probably on it for a while. She didn't tell me exactly how long. She said, for a couple of months, she said.
Yeah.
Not too long, just a couple of months.
Okay. So I would tell you that it's definitely that essential oil. Now it may come from wild yam, but they're just telling you that the progesterone they came all progesterone comes from this substance called dioxygenin that comes from wild yam, but it's progesterone in there because see on the 12th to 13th day of her cycle, she shouldn't be making any progesterone.
That's correct.
Yeah, so she shouldn't be making any until, day 14 or 15, and the peak is not till day 18, 19, or 20. So I agree that what we should do is, what you should do is tell her to stop it. And because what happens is when progesterone gets too high for too long, she downregulates her receptors. So when progesterone's too high, it's like she doesn't have any. So that's why she has the premenstrual syndrome,
Oh, okay.
PMS, because her level she's down regulated her receptors where it's not responding to it. So you got to think that hey, if she's got this much pre luteal phase, the follicular phase, just think if she's tried to if she did ovulate, she's going to get that level up even higher. So she's going to be even more overdosed on it, and she's going to be less responsive to it. So that was to me that was the right thing to do, is to tell her to stop it. And a lot of times they'll get better once they stop it.
Uh-huh.
So then the high melatonin are thought to be their antidepressants. You know, I would love to do heart rate variability on her because I guarantee you
Yeah,
her amino acids are low.
yeah,
Their whole family is.
yeah, uh-huh.
And
I can suggest to her. I'll see whether she would come there since I don't have it. So.
well, you know what? I tell you, I've been searching. At the end of this, I'm going to tell you a way that we can do this. I actually found an app. Technology is crazy now, where I'm going to show you I'm going to show you an app, and it'll cost you $50 to get a polar belt, one of these belts that tests for the heart rate, the RR interval, and you can actually see it on the app, and then you can also send it to me, and I can do a full report on it and send it back to you.
Really? That might be a good thing. So I probably will suggest to her. It looks like she probably will do anything that I ask her to do.
Okay, so
Uh,
so you may be my test person because
okay.
I really am hooked on this heart rate variability to especially for a patient like this, because now you say even her kids are on antidepressants.
This is very interesting. She has 21 years and 24 years. One of them actually, he also is my patient. Her son is also my patient.
Mm-hmm.
This guy, he's homeschooled. Even for college studies, he's still doing his college work at home because of his anxiety. He can't go to college.
Wow.
And he's on clonopin. Then the other son is also 24. They all seem to be very nice kids, bright kids. He also is on clonopin. Other son is also on clonopin.
You know,
And
I told you, I
they
mean, I had
okay.
I had a case where, a patient dropped out of school, and I think I showed you guys that. And we gave her amino acids and some Easy Calm to calm her down, and her heart rate variability got much better. Yeah, and probably what's happening, you're in a environment of depression and anxiety, and what happens is those, how it is, and I don't know how you say it psychiatrically or whatever, but they can feel the anxiety in their parents, those kids. So they become anxious. Their sympathetic nervous system is on all the time from the whatever age they can remember. So they end up depleting their parasympathetic nervous system, amino acids, just from the feeling in that house. So they grow up in an anxious, depressed house. They're feeling anxious and depressed, but they're all depleting their amino acids, their parasympathetic amino acids. So I will, I'll, what I need to do is I'm going to make a little video to show you how to use this app. All you have to do is to buy a $50 polar belt. You can take the readings. I just talked to the guy who manufactures or who came up with this Nerve Express that I have, and he said, "Wow, I said all you need to do is you need to use the app. They can send you the raw data. You can import it into your machine. You can have a report, and I can send it right back to you. I can send it back with my suggestions and all of that stuff. So yeah, that keeps you from having to buy a $4,000 or $5,000 machine, and we can do it. And yeah, so I was thinking that was something I was going to present tonight, but this will be perfect. So I'll get that together, and for Eric, all you guys, so you guys can get comfortable with this, and then we'll see where it goes from there. See how we can make this work, because I may just have it where I have it as a consultation service, and you know, I can look at these things and send them back. And after a while, you'll start seeing your own patterns. And I think it's a good way to teach you guys how to do this stuff. So I've been working on it. Yeah, I've been working on it. I'm like, man, it's hard to try, because if you got the machine, I'd still have to coach you through it. So it's better for me to just get the data and coach you through it through that, and either at some point you could buy it, or just continue to use the consultation service, because you could charge them for the report, and then you pay me a little something for the report. So that may be an easier way to do it.
I actually have another patient who I thought I would present in the next webinar. This is a patient with endometriosis and autonomic dysregulation. She has PARTS. I thought she would be a good candidate too for that.
Okay, so I will get that information together and send it out to you and to everybody else, how we can get HRV, because I really think it is so essential, because hormones are not going to fix everything in this woman. Getting her progesterone level down will help her some, but hormones it's just not going to do everything for this woman. She has got to get her autonomic nervous system to work correctly, get her cortisol under control, get her parasympathetics working again. She's really going to have to do that. So I think I have some other questions here. Hold on, let me see what's going on.
Do you think 2 months is a good time to repeat the salivary testing here?
2 months should be fine.
Okay.
Okay, somebody asks, why did she do the salivary test on the 12th and 13th day instead of 19 through 21? Did she just not know what to do?
We had given the kits and she decided to do it on that day.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we really got to try and get them to do it on that peak. So, but you know what? Actually, for this, it's good, because it showed that even in her follicular phase, her progesterone is sky high. So that tells me that there's progesterone in that cream. And that's why I'm telling you that when you give progesterone transdermally, it builds up. It builds up over time. And so over the 2-3 months she's been putting that on, that progesterone level has gotten higher and higher. She's not even in the luteal phase, and it's 4 times the peak of the luteal phase. So actually, it was good that you did it during that time. But from now on, to do it during the peak through 19 and 21.
That's correct. I know that I learned with the class.
Okay, good. Yeah. So what is the best time to do the saliva hormone testing regarding the menstruation? Yeah, it's day 19 through 21 if it's a 28-day cycle. Dr. I'm going to mute you for just a second so I can answer these other questions. let me see if I have the menstrual cycle here. And why you do it on day 19 through 21. Okay, hold on. Well, let me pull this up because I think something happened here. What happened to my question thing? Oh, here we go. What happened to my question? Okay. All right. But yeah, you do it on day 19 through 21 because that's the peak of the progesterone curve. Okay. So who was asking that? Was it Sandra Banks? Yeah. So that's why you do it during that time. All right. Something happened here, you guys. My question panel went away. I'll figure it out later. Pen, highlighter, screen sharing. Okay. For some reason, oh, I think I know what to do. Here we go. All right. So, yeah. So, when's the best time to do saliva hormone tests regarding menstruation? One, you should do it between day 19, 21, and 23. If you're doing the Genova test, they do it every other day. You do the menopause test, but you do it at that time because that's the peak of the progesterone curve. Or you can do the 30-day test. Genova has a 30-day test where you do it every other day or every third day for the whole month, and you get a whole curve of what estrogen and progesterone looks like. So you can either do it either way. Of course, the month-long test is more expensive, so you may want to do that, the little snapshot test. If you have time, would you do BHRT in a woman 6 years out? Okay, Eric, I'll just let you. I'll let you say what you have to say about that. Let me unmute you, and then what did you want? What did you want to ask, Eric?
Oh, if there's time, I just had a patient. She was diagnosed with stage 3C ovarian cancer 6 years ago. Had surgery, chemo, radiation, and has been cleared by her oncologist as being cured as of about a year ago. And she came to me for weight loss. We're doing all the things that we can do, on her, but she's asked several times, what about my hormones? What about my hormones? And I, just in a patient that's had such a remarkable, recovery from such a horrible, not very many survivors,
Yeah, from ovarian.
like, an ovarian cancer, and she's asking these questions, and obviously I'm terrified to give her anything.
Yeah.
Is that something you say, you've been 6 years without your ovaries, let's just maximize your cortisol, you're getting that down, let's work on, sleep, let's work on nutrition, let's work on gut repair. She's very healthy, she's active,
Okay.
And she's just, gaining a little bit of weight.
See, I would have no problem. I would test her, and I doubt very seriously if low estrogen is her problem, especially if she's overweight. She's making estrogen. Estrogen is associated with ovarian cancer. Progesterone is not. So I wouldn't have any problem with giving her progesterone. I do the test, and I would be willing to bet that she's got plenty of estrogen coming from a fat tissue, and I would be very leery about giving her estrogen. I would not be leery about giving her progesterone if the salivary test told me that it was low. And you're doing exactly right. With that ovarian cancer and chemo and all of that, her cortisol is what I would really, worry about, because you want her natural killer cells to be able to kill any new cancer that comes, and to build her up nutritionally again. I mean, you're exactly right. I would build her gut back up, give her the progesterone. I doubt very seriously, even if you're going to have to even think about estrogen. Now, if you draw her blood level of estrogen, it's going to show that it's low.
Right.
Because she doesn't have any. Remember, the only time you're going to see it in her blood is when that estrogen is coming from that special tissue, which is her ovaries, which she doesn't have anymore. But that fat tissue, I guarantee you, is making estrone, and that estrone can be converted into estradiol. Remember, I showed you that pathway where those can go back and forth. So that's what's going on.
Mhm.
And if she's
Mhm.
coming to you for weight loss, then that means something's going on in that fat tissue.
Right.
So
Okay.
when women say hormones, and we all think, oh, she doesn't have any ovaries, she's not making estrogen. You're going to have to prove to her, yeah, yes, you are. Here you are. Here's your estrogen right here. That's not what you need. So we need to
Mhm.
do progesterone. We need to do cortisol. We need to build you back up. And I wish if you had that BIA, I bet your phase angle is down because she's been through all of that stuff. Say, look, your phase angle's down. We
Mhm.
got to build you back up. We've got to get you back in good health, even though she is healthy. So yeah, I wouldn't be so terrified. I will let the test take the terror out of you.
Okay. Well, and I just didn't. If I wasn't willing to do anything with the results, then there's no point in ordering
Yeah,
the
oh,
test.
you're
And
exactly
that's
right. Oh, you're right. You don't never do a test you're not willing to do something about. So now you can say, hey, look, yeah, I'm. You just tell her, uh, well, we'll do the test, and you won't even have to. You won't have to explain to her why she doesn't need estrogen. The test will do it
mm,
for you.
right. Okay.
Okay, and you won't
Thank
even
you.
have to come to that conversation. It's going to show her that her estrogen is normal, her progesterone is low. Now, of course, I can be wrong. Okay, if that estrogen is low, I would still say, uh, if her estradiol is low, she still is probably making estrone. So you can do things to try and convert that estrone to like I told you that sulforaphane and all that stuff. But
Right.
let's get the test results back, and then we'll worry about it.
Okay.
Okay, so I would go ahead and test her. If we don't have a webinar set up, just send it to me or call me or whatever, and we'll look at it. And so you'll have a good argument either for or against.
Perfect. Do you use the Labrix with the neurotransmitters and
Okay,
the
well, you know what?
cortisol and
Yeah.
the hormones all in one?
Now you could try that. This is what I used to do neurotransmitter testing a long time ago. And what I found is that most of the time it shows you the same thing. It's very confusing because I've even seen the results on their test. It's very confusing, and most of the time it tells you to give them everything. Okay, most of the time
Yeah.
these people are low on everything. So I stopped spending the money on the test and just started using amino acids, and it works just as well. Or you do the HRV and it shows that parasympathetic is low and whatever. It's really telling you the same thing. It's functionally telling you what's going on. She's not making parasympathetics. Okay, so that means she's low in serotonin, dopamine, and GABA. What's a precursor for that? So I, if I have that in-office testing, it saves me a whole lot of money. I probably haven't done neurotransmitter testing in 3 or 4 years, as long as I've been doing HRV. And even when I was doing it, it always told me to give everybody everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I just said I might as well just give them everything. And if I could do the test essentially for free, the in-office test, I just did it based off that, and I haven't
Right.
seen the need to go back to it.
Do, do you find that, and I don't want to, I don't want to hog the mic,
Okay.
but if it's cheaper to do like a protein powder than amino acids, it seems like to do a good vegan protein powder versus or with supplemented with amino acids or even like a whey protein. Do you
Well,
find that it's
this
this
is
is
the reason why I go away from whey proteins is that I do a lot of food sensitivity testing. You'll be surprised at how many people are sensitive to whey
oh,
and they're
okay.
sensitive to casein. So that's why in our amino acids we use pea protein, and we do a lot of other stuff, to try and it's choline in there. There's inositol in there. There's a bunch of other stuff. So that's why I've gone away from whey protein. I was using doing isogenics, way back when that was and then, I lost a little weight. Then I stopped. Then I did a food sensitivity test on myself. I'm sensitive to casein. So a lot of these either have whey or casein in it. And if you do food sensitivity tests, I will tell you 50% of them will come back either with a casein or a whey allergy or
Mm,
sensitivity. I shouldn't say allergy, it's sensitivity. So that's why I go now. If you want to do your own pea protein, now you can do that, uh, and that's not a problem. But I would do a plant-based protein. Now, um, I just know, and again, uh, we kind of formulated that amino restore to increase total power in that HRV, and I know it does that. I'm not saying it's the only one that does it, but that's how I would kind of gauge it. I would give them whatever protein you wanted to use, see if it changes the HRV. And I'm going to get it to the point where you guys can, I'm going to send you this information so you can do HRVs. Do it on an app. You'll see it on the app, but then also you'll send me the raw data, and I'll send you that. I'll send you a 7-page report, and at the end it can give suggestions and all of that stuff. And as you do it, you'll learn how to read these things, and it's really cool. And you can have what you can do is you can have the patient download the app because the app is free. They can either, it'd be better if they sent the raw data to you and you send it to me so I know whose patient it is, and then print out the report, and it'll give you all the information you need. It's really cool. I've been talking to this guy for 2 or 3 days to figure out how to do it, and we've finally figured out how to do it. And where you guys can get familiar with this, and even if you never buy the machine, we can just keep doing it like this. We could have some kind of consultation fee or whatever. You guys can charge the patient, and we go from there. And hopefully, I'll suggest uh, certain supplements of mine that you use. You try it, see if it works. If it doesn't, then you do something else. But you'll be surprised at how much information they'll give you on these patients with fatigue and sleep problems. Man, it just puts it right in front of their face. Okay?
Yes, thank you.
All right. Okay, so let's see who else has questions here. Diane Ignacio. Let me see if you had let me go to the pane here. Question pane. Okay, so I answered your question, Diane. Eric, Dr. Iyer, do you have another question, Dr. Iyer?
Not yet.
Okay, so I saw the question mark up. I'm just going to say hello to Dr. Colorado here. And Dr. Colorado, how are you doing? Maybe you went away from the mic. Dr. Colorado, are you there? I'll mute him back. Maybe he doesn't have his mic. Dr. Stewart? Hello, Dr. Stewart? Maybe she's not at the mic. Okay. All right. Well, it's getting close to 9 o'clock. If anybody has any questions, you can raise your hand. I do have this recorded. I'll get the recording out to everybody probably by in the morning. What I am going to do is I'm going to create a video to show you how you guys can do HRV with a $50 polar belt, maybe a little bit different, and we'll do some of these, and I'll just show you how it's going to work. Okay, I'm gonna make a video. We'll send that out to everybody. You guys will be my test market for this to see how it works, and then we'll see how we can do this long term, where it enhances your practice, and it'll bring more value to your practice, and we'll figure out how to do this. Okay, Sandra Banks she's raising her hand. Let's see. Yes, Sandra Banks, is your mic working? I may have to go to the question pane. Let's see. No, Mike, what is the best way to contact you for questions? Okay, so let's see here. Here's what I'll do. Let me give you since you guys are my certification people. Well, you know what? You can do it at contact us at AFMA, but let me give you guys my email. give you my personal email for this stuff. ELDRED _ it's going to go to your chat. Taylor MD at yahoo.com. So I'm sending a chat to you guys that's my personal email. So if something comes up in between, just let me know. We'll probably have another one of these in 2 weeks. Anybody who hasn't done a salivary test on somebody, uh, just pick somebody, do it on yourself. Uh, let's try and do that so we can have some cases to go over next time, and hopefully it'll be your first case for some of you guys. You just got to do it. And then in the meantime, we'll do some HRVs also, because by then we'll hopefully by the end of this week, we'll send this out to you guys, how to do it. Some way I'll figure out how to charge you for the polar belt. I have to figure out how to get that to you guys, and I'll show you how to use the app, and we'll go from there. So if there's no other questions, it's 8:56. I don't know if you guys have eaten yet, but I haven't. So I'm glad you guys came. I think we got some questions answered. We had some good dialogue. I've enjoyed it. And I look forward to doing this probably in a couple of weeks. We're going to try and do this every couple of weeks. And then I may have a couple of guest lecturers close to the end after we've gotten some of the basics down. I don't want to get too specific or too detailed. We just need to get the basics down, and that's going to answer 80 to 90% of the issues that you have. And then if we have to bring somebody else in to talk to us about the other 10%, we'll do that also. So, okay. All right. If there's no other questions, we'll call it a wrap. I appreciate you guys coming, and we'll see you next time.